Okay, so sorry. Okay, so I'm Anjuman and I'm your host for this session. So today we have a session with Michael Knight, who is a passionate product owner at Scrum Alliance. He is successfully leading cross-functional teams from product conception to product adoption. So I'll leave the floor open. Over to you, Mike.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for everyone that's showing up. I don't have a particular agenda. I wanted to leave it open so that anyone wanted to ask any questions about Scrum Alliance, product ownership, or Scrum Mastery. I am the product owner over the for the coaches specifically, and what we do is certify coaches for CEC, which are certified enterprise coaches, and then we also have a certification for certified team coaches. But if there's any questions that anyone has, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from anybody?
Actually, there are many questions. I was just thinking where to get started.
Okay.
Um, I think the biggest question becomes is all around CST. But Mike, it
Hmm.
will really help if someone can simply know the graph, how they can go about, on this journey. Um, because there are a lot of people who don't even know whether they should take up CSM or CSPO, or what is the first level of certificate and all. So if something, a beginner's guide kind of thing, then we'll come down to other questions. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so there are two starting paths for us in certifications. One is a CSM, which is Certified Scrum Master, and those are certifications for people who are looking to become a Scrum Master and lead a team on and interacting with them. That path allows a person who's interested in becoming a Scrum Master. We have a level above that, which is an Advanced Scrum Master certification. After they've had two years of experience, they can come for their Certified Scrum Master certification. After that, the level above that is what we consider a certified Scrum professional with a Scrum Master slant to that. And then after that, if they're interested in getting into becoming a coach, that's the next level for a certified Scrum Master, which would be a certified team coach. And that allows them to facilitate and continue their working with teams and progressing in a Scrum environment so that they can assist with how that works. That's one aspect of it. The other one is a certified product owner, which I'm most familiar with. And a product owner is, if you're not familiar with it, they primarily prioritize the work that the team has done. They interact with the user themselves. Their primary responsibility is to be the voice of the customer for which they're doing. They help work with personas. They also work with multiple teams, not only from a technology standpoint, but they also work with teams in regards to design and UX UI. So it's a product owner is a unique position in a Scrum team where they are needing to have and work with multiple teams from multiple disciplines. Um, if you can get once you have a certification through us from a certified product owner, the next level is an advanced certified product owner. And again, that the requirement of that becoming that is a 2-year commitment from being a product owner. After that, um, and let me add two for the advanced aspects of it. They basically go into a deeper understanding of Scrum Mastership or product ownership. And so that's one of the reasons that we require 2 years, because we want people to have the experience and so that they can actually get into some deeper conversations, and the study guides and the learning material really digs into some things in regards to like user interviews, how to conduct them, how to keep those things open to allow for open-ended questions, things of that nature. After that, advanced certification, you can also become a CSP, which is a certified Scrum professional with a product owner slant to that. And then currently that's the primary view for a product ownership. You can move over to becoming a certified coach from a product owner perspective. So if you're already moving forward in product ownership and you want to become a coach also, that is also available to you. But the Scrum Master aspect of it is usually the track that traditionally what people come through and become coaches with us. I think that's it so far. Did I get it? Did I get everything? Okay.
Great.
Any
Thanks,
questions?
Mike.
Oh, yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thanks, Mike. So any questions from anybody on that?
Keep checking chat because there are questions in chat. So, Mike, there is a question which is more about what is there for managers. And I actually agree. We should probably have, courses like certified agile managers.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting perspective. We haven't really, we don't have certifications for managers themselves. Usually our CSP for certified Scrum professionals is usually where management or leadership tends to go. We also have certifications for CAL certifications that allow them to understand agile principles from a business slant. But that's an interesting perspective. We have not done anything in regards to having a certified Scrum manager in that area, but we're always looking for opportunities and ways that we can help the community. And if that's something that's a demand, then we can absolutely do that.
Yeah. So, Anjuman, are you checking chats? I mean, I would always go on talking.
Sure, sure. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mike, there's another question which somebody is asking that. I mean, Deepak is asking. He has done foundation and masters from other institute. Can he do advanced Scrum certification from Alliance? Is that feasible?
Without having a CSM, I don't think there is. Currently, the requirement is to have a CSM, which requires an experience. But I can get back to you if I can provide some contact information. I can talk a little bit deeper or get you in touch with the people that actually do those certifications. They know more about the requirements and some alternative ways you can become a Scrum Master without having to or becoming an advanced certification without necessarily having to go through the basics.
Sure. So, Deepak, do you want to share that?
Okay, so yeah, so I done my foundation from Certi Prof and also from International Scrum Institute, that foundation part.
Mhm,
Then for the Scrum Master certification, I have gone through same International Scrum Institute.
mhm.
So basically, I have that what you can say foundation and the master level knowledge about. But if I wish to go to advanced CSM directly, but I don't want to go with that CSM route because my
Yeah,
management won't approve those reimbursement bill now. So
yeah.
that is why I asked that question specifically. And how do I transform from Scrum Master to product owner? As currently I'm taking care of both the role because in our Scrum team there is no product owner and he or she will be get onboarded in around 2 weeks time. So what's the career path from Scrum Master to product owner?
It's a funny thing is there's actually a lot of people who switch from being Scrum Masters or product owner, depending on how they, once they get into a Scrum environment, they realize that there's some things that they have and a passion for product ownership. So the best way to do it is just basically go to our website and then you can apply for a certified Scrum product ownership, which will allow you to validate your the product ownership um, aspects or knowledge, and then that'll get you moving forward in regards to a product ownership role. And you can find all of this stuff and everything else that I'm saying on our website, which is scrumalliance.org. Um, how do Scrum? I'm sorry. Did I answer your question? I want to make sure before I start. I'm unfortunately starting to look
Yes,
at the chat, and
yes, you
so I
did.
need to
Yes,
stop
you
doing
did.
that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. What I will do is I'll actually put my email address inside of this chat so that you can if you have any other questions, you can email me.
That would be great, Mike.
And then if I don't have a question, or if later on if a question comes up to you, and you want to ask me, I can actually forward it on to someone or answer that question myself.
Sure. So, should I take the next question now?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this question is from Nuna. She's asking, aside from CSM 2-day course, how can we develop skills as a new CM? Maybe she wants to know how to get that practical knowledge of SM.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so we have two ways of that are off the top of my head. You can actually join a meetup group that we have all around the world that you can get in touch with someone to actually do some practicing of Scrum Mastership. We also have some PI tool, which is a program and improvement tool for Scrum Masters, where you can actually go in and ask questions. And it's an area where any Scrum Master could, a senior Scrum Master could come in and ask a question, or we actually have coaches that are plugged into that platform. So if you have some things that you want to move forward with, and have some questions that may not necessarily be in the Scrum Master area, we actually have certified coaches that go in there and answer those questions in addition to anything else you may have. We also have Google groups that are available to Scrum Masters if you want to get involved and plugged into those. So we have a couple of ways that you can either virtually connect with people. Well, in person is kind of odd nowadays, but we do have a lot of places where you can connect with the community in your area or where else in the world.
Thank you so much. In regards to the apprenticeship, how do I get connected with the right people for that? What's the best way?
You can email me. I'll email you. If you email me your information and say, hey, I'm interested in plugging in some Scrum Masters, I will get you plugged into the appropriate people that can help you. There's so many, there actually are a lot of ways that you can connect in. And so it's easier for me to plug you in, and they can show you all of the places that you can come in where you can practice and be with like-minded Scrum Masters.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Cool. You're welcome.
So the next question is from Melin. Uh, it's about which certification would you recommend for someone from a project manager role and who wants to move into agile field? So
Um, Generally, it's a Scrum Master position is kind of works with that. If you're a project manager and you're looking at more of from a product standpoint and want to look at the business aspect of it, then I'd say project manager is one of those positions that requires a little bit of both. And really, it depends on your passion. If you're more in tune with the process and how things move along and helping the teams become more efficient, and you're from a project standpoint, Scrum Master definitely moves forward with that. But if you're looking at it more from a business aspect and really helping drive the initiatives and the things that would actually get worked on and why, then a product ownership is a way to go from there.
sure, thanks. Okay, I'll take the next question now. So sorry, just 1 minute, Melin. Do you have any further question here? Are you good? I think there are no further question on this. So next question is again from Nuno.
No,
It's
that's
how
it for me. Thank you. No.
okay. So it's how do Scrum Alliance and Scrum organization Scrum Master certification align? I mean, the question is how do Scrum Alliance and Scrum organization Scrum Master certification align? Nuno, you want to talk something else on this?
It cut out for me. Apologies. Would you mind saying the question again?
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Or
my
is it?
question. Sorry, I'll repeat it. How does Scrum Alliance certification align with Scrum.org? Because for me, I started with the Scrum Alliance, but then I later heard about Scrum.org doing their own certifications. So how do they align? I'm just curious.
That's a very interesting question. They're similar in a lot of ways because they're based off of it. And Scrum Inc. is one of those companies that came from one of the founders. So the principles of it are very similar. I'd say the main difference is that we're a nonprofit organization and but they do, and we go Agile Scrum.
With Scrum Alliance, and then I want to move to Scrum.org. How does that, because it seems like once you choose one, you have to stick with one, right? So,
Yeah.
and I hear different benefits for each one, right? Pluses and minuses. So how does it work in practically? Like if you choose start with one and can you switch to another or vice versa, you know?
Technically you can. There's just not a path that says, hey, let's say you start at Scrum Master level and then, it's Scrum Inc. You go to the next level that's certified over on there, even though they may be parallel. It's not really a, hey, I can jump from one and kind of jump from both ends and not have to go back and kind of do the foundation on each one of them. We do offer separate certifications.
So there's no like reciprocity, right? Like you have to start
No.
from the bottom up.
Yeah, into one of them. Yeah, and there are like I said, the main reason is that there are some subtle differences between the way we do them, and that's the reason we both have the foundations that we have. Not saying that one is wrong or not. We all, like I said, we all come from the same. It's based off of the Scrum Manifesto, so we can't get too far from what we're doing. It's just a personal preference, and you have to weigh what's beneficial for you based on where you're heading in your career.
But do you foresee it in the future to change? For example, let's say someone is started as a, I don't know, Scrum Master, and then they have 2 to 3, 4 years of experience, and they're going to look at Scrum.org. Do you think they're gonna have to start from the very first certification? I mean, I just feel like I think I foresee myself some flexibility in the future. I mean, that's kind of from a practical point of view, right?
Yeah, of course. No one can predict the future, and we're open as far as the Scrum Alliance is concerned. We're open to all opportunities to help it. Our goal as a nonprofit is really to elevate Agile principles as a whole. And so collaborating with other organizations is not outside of our wheelhouse. We have partnerships where we can do reciprocal licenses and things of that nature. So we're completely open to that. Scrum Inc. is a for-profit organization. They have priorities that are a little bit different than ours, but from our perspective, we're open to it. If someone from Scrum Inc. would love to would talk to us about it, we're open. But that's a future thought, in all honesty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, how can we get the case studies and practical informations? Mike, where can we get that?
The practical information about
Sorry, Mike, I had a trouble hearing
did
you.
I
Can you
get it
please?
right? I want sure that I'm getting the right information before I answer.
Okay, so Mike, sorry, I had a trouble hearing you. So the question here
So
was,
let me ask, actually, this is the question which I posed where I want
yeah,
to, have a good experience on the case studies or the practical experience of a Scrum Master. Is there a way that I can do it via the Scrum ORG or Scrum Alliance?
In regard, can you say that again? I just want to make sure I'm understanding. You're looking for like some practical information, or are you looking for a place to practice?
Yeah, the practical information on the work, because the CSM or any other certifications, when you go, it's kind of a theoretical, basically more, and you do some activities. But in order to, land up to any kind of job, you need to have a practical experience or, an
Yep.
exposure to it. So is there a way that, the Scrum Alliance or ORG can help?
Yes, very similar to the question earlier. We have various ways to do it. We've got Google Groups where you can come in and connect with other Scrum Masters where you can practice and get more in-depth information. We also have meetups that are available there, and then we also have a resource library that has some more information in there. Again, it's very theoretical when it regards to the resource library, but if you're looking for something where you're actually interacting with other Scrum Masters and an opportunity for you to ask some more detailed questions so that you have some practical knowledge about what's going on, I would definitely recommend doing that. And so if you've seen in the Slack channel, I actually have my email address in there. If you've missed it, I can put it back in there. Please email me, and then I will get you plugged in with all of the various ways that you can practice.
Sure, thank you so much.
Okay, Mike. The next question is one of the biggest pain point that these days organizations are hiring freshers and they're calling them and getting the certification in them and they're calling them Scrum Masters, which is a kind of way impacting the quality of the Scrum Masters. So, is there something that Scrum Alliance is doing about it?
Not, not aggressively, I would say. Um, Yeah, that's a thing that's going on in the industry. We have seen that also, where there's various organizations are coming up and providing certifications that are somewhat believed to be similar to ours, and it's just the nature of where the market is going. But we haven't really, or I would say, aggressively gone out to it. It just depends on a case by case basis. If there's something that's out there that's definitely going against what we're doing, especially since we're a nonprofit, we like to go in and have some conversations with those other organizations and see where it lines up and where it doesn't line up, with what we consider agile principles, to be followed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got disconnected and there was one question which I have missed in the chat. Can we get that question again? Okay. So Mike, next question is why don't we have an exam of CSPO certification just like Scrum.org have their
Of
own
course,
PSPA?
PSP is for a certified Scrum professional. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
It's for the product owner. We have the exams for the Scrum Master, but in Scrum Alliance, we do not have exams for product owner. But in Scrum.org have exams for every level. But here, so that's the question, that why we don't, what's the thought that we do not have exams for the CSPO? We just need to attend the workshop and we get that.
Yep, yep, yep. You're absolutely right. I don't know. The Scrum Master, I won't be honest about it. I don't know off the top of my head, but I can find out why we haven't created exams. But I can totally understand that, especially as a product owner. I was a little surprised that we didn't have one. I was expecting some exams. So that's a valid question. We'll absolutely look into why we don't have exams for that.
Yeah,
Good
because
question.
Scrum Alliance do not have, like, for now advanced CSM and CSPSM and all those also do not have the exam. We just have for the CSM.
Yep.
So there might be some thoughts. So it would be good if we can understand what's the thought process going on behind that, so that we can understand that, okay, these are the thought processes, these are, and how the Scrum Alliance is helping out. Because nowadays we like the other question that was that freshers are given just the Scrum Master training and that they are treated as a Scrum Master or the dummy Scrum Master. So that's
Yep.
in organizations we are seeing the people are just acting as a Scrum Master, but they are not the servant leader. They are not the change agents. So
Yep.
that's the impacting the quality. So that's the thought process, that these two questions, I think, somewhat they are getting linked.
Hmm. Yep. I could totally see that. Um, hmm. Yeah, it's a very interesting, it's a very interesting question. I haven't heard that. I haven't been at Streamlines forever, like some of my compadres, but I haven't actually heard a question like that. It's a very good one. Well, but I will see what I can do to find out. When I get an answer to this, is there a place that I can uh, put the answer to this, as much as any other questions that might come up? I just want to circle, if I can, when I be able to circle back and answer this
If
question, I
you
want to
get
make
the
sure that
answer, yeah, if you get the answer, you can just send it to the Deepti's email, and we'll share it with all the participants who are here, so that everyone gets the knowledge about that.
okay, I'll definitely do that.
I would like to add something to this, actually, as an extension.
Yeah,
From
absolutely.
my experience, I got certified as Scrum Master 1 year ago, and I got certified as a product owner several weeks ago. And I can tell you, I I was a bit surprised by the product owner material because it seems like it's impossible to cover over 2 days. It's such a big role, you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
and it would have been helpful, in all honesty, to spread that course out to look to 2 weekends, to 4 days instead of 2 days, because there's just so much to cover. It's an enormous role. And for Scrum Master, 2 days was really nice as an introduction. But I think as a new Scrum Master or someone who's pivoting careers like myself, it would be helpful to maybe extend it to 3 days. There's just so much to cover. But I would say specifically for product owner, it's something that just not enough time. To do case studies, to do exercises. There's just simply not enough time.
Yes, yes, I could totally see that. It is a lot to cover. When I took it, I was already doing product ownership at the time, and it still was a lot to get through. So I will definitely go back and bring that back to the team as some feedback to get that, because you are absolutely right. It is a lot to cover, and I still have my book. It's like in my drawer right now because I refer to it all the time because there's so much information in there.
Yeah, because a lot of it is also depends on the trainer, right? Because there's no standard, let's say, right? In Scrum Alliance, there's no standard for this you have to cover. So it's up to the instructor actually, right? So that
Well,
makes it even.
Yeah, they should. We do have learning objectives that they have to materials that they have to cover. How they would cover that, and what ways to take, and um, what's the word, methodologies they use to actually get that information over. That part is up to them, and they can also enhance it based on that. There is some variations between who's cleaning, training what particular thing, but the basis of it and the core of that work is all the same. It's just that some of the coaches can add on to it if they see fit.
My understanding, I learned recently that with Scrum.org, they have kind of a standard books or something, a standard material that they follow.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that, if it's a benefit or or if it's not so adaptable, because I mean I can see both being useful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the reason we use it that way is we allow a little bit more diversity in how people can learn. Some people like a lot of stories and really respond to that and do a lot more exercise. So we do have trainers who are very exercise heavy, and so that they can do some the work through it and use the classroom participation as a pretty heavy way to kind of go through that. Some are very more academic. They want to talk about the learning objectives and very structured about what they go over to make sure they go through that material, and they're more a traditional education form of communicating to it. So we do have some. We believe that having flexibility and depending on how people learn, we believe that is an advantage to us as opposed to maybe creating things that are more solid. But there's also a benefit to that where it's consistent. Doesn't matter where you go, who you teach, it's all the same, and it'll always be presented the same. So there's advantages to both. For sure.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So the next question is, somebody is Scrum Master from last 5 years.
Mike, there is one comment.
I think I lost you. I heard the Scrum Master.
So, Mike, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. Uh, I know what is the problem here. There's some issue with the network. I'm sorry for it. So, the next question was, somebody is a Scrum Master from last 5 years, and if he wants to become a trainer for training the people around CSM, so what is the process for that?
You'd have to go through the certified Scrum trainer program. Lisa Reeder is the product owner over there, and they have some information. I can put her email address in there if you want to email her. If you have some interest in becoming a trainer, she actually helps with that aspect of it. And I can put that in there.
Mike's there once comment in that due to the renewal process that Scrum Alliance have, many professionals are nowadays moving towards the Scrum.org because they do not have that renewal process. So I we understand that Scrum Alliance wants to just want the people to just rebrush their knowledge, utilize their knowledge, and then come back or renew that thing. But do we have any other thoughts about that so that we can convince that people choose when choosing between Scrum Alliance and Scrum.org? So how we can like convince them or we can pursue them go for the Scrum Alliance, not for Scrum.org or vice versa, whatever. What's the thought process behind the renewal process other than those just checking the knowledge?
Yeah, part of it is the knowledge. It's a pretty huge part of it. But the other part that we like to do and talk about is the community aspect of it. And so some of the the renewals aspect of it actually go towards tools like the Google Groups. We actually take a lot of the funds in and put it back into communities, which allows us to do meetups. So those any member who wishes to lead a meetup, they actually can do that, and the Scrum Alliance actually help supplement them to be able to do that aspect of it. So there's some other reasons in addition to the knowledge. Definitely, that's a huge part of it. But what we believe that it's more of a community based thing, and as a nonprofit, we use those funds to actually to lift up Agile as a whole, and then send that out into the world. Hopefully that turns into something that's beneficial to our members.
Okay. And Mike, one question that like as of now, this event is basically most of the participants are from the Indian subcontinent. So how does Scrum Alliance see itself going on after 2 or 3 years within the Indian subcontinent? How Scrum Alliance wants to increase their footprints or how they see their prospects over here?
Uh, it's a this is usually a Howard question. So in general, we see enormous potential in various other parts of the world. We have been even though we're a worldwide organization and we accept people all over the world, we don't have the footprint in some areas that we would love to get to move in for. Latin America is a huge market that we would like to move forward into. Also into other aspects like Russia and Germany, we don't have a large aspect of it. We're actually moving some of our, like for example, our coaches retreats. We're actually trying to we're having multiple sessions and availability that are specific and optimal for those parts of the world or United States based. And so we're actually having an exerted effort to make things that are convenient for other parts of the world. Australia, India is definitely an area where we'd love to have. We want to start providing things that are optimal for your area. In addition to, we are actually moving forward to doing a lot of some of our certification programs and documentation are already in native languages, but we want to expand that out. We're working on Mandarin, Russian. We have people in our community right now that are translating our documentation into Russian and various different languages that help assist us and move into areas of the world that we normally wouldn't be there, or in areas where a language might be a barrier where English isn't their primary language, and we want to reach people where they are.
Add to that, like we are targeting the regional languages, but in India there are too many languages. Just if travel 200 miles, the language will change and the culture will change. So how and there are many organizations, like Indian born organizations which are now moving towards, but they are basically the service focused because they are providing the services to the US organization. So how can we help using the Scrum Alliance resources? How can we help those organizations to adapt the real uh, essence of the agile? Because at present they are just doing agile because they are asked from the US counterparts or the Europe counterparts, but not the actual what is the intent of the agile, that they are not. So how is Scrum Alliance targets to those organizations that go for that, go get into that?
Yeah, so we recognize that our organizations aren't always that we have seen in the wild, and I'm sure that people have been around and will know that from an IT's perspective, agile is something that gets accepted and adopted very easily, and it's utilized. That's one of the things that we are looking to build out is it's on the business act side of it, not necessarily from the standpoint of people hearing agile and saying, hey, I'm going to do something faster and it's going to be cheaper, but from the standpoint of actually adopting the agile principles, getting leadership to understand what the agile principles do and what the advantages of them are, and helping them understand it, as opposed to it just being a framework that allows them to do more work, for lack of a better term. So there's quite a bit of conversation or to talk about agile as a principle and a way to move their organization forward, as opposed to, hey, this is a framework that you can go and do it, as opposed to any other frame and make things happen.
Okay, like them subcontinent about that.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And Howard's out. Well, now he used to when everything was going well. That was constantly where he was. He was at Forbes magazines, meeting with business leaders, talking to that part of of organizations, so that they can understand what the principal organization and what the benefits are for it more specifically, because leaders tend to worry about what the bottom line is, and we definitely talk to them in that vein and help them understand that it will do these things also. But the bigger component of that is just the agile mindset and being able to think more nimbly, and moving their organizations forward.
So, Mike, like you mentioned that we have prospects over here. So, does Scrum Alliance think of bringing, like we have regional Scrum gathering, but there is one global Scrum gathering. Do we plan to have that within the Indian subcontinent in near future?
Uh, I don't know. I know I actually, the funny thing is I used to be the product owner over the gatherings team, so I know a little bit about it. They are, everything got put on pause, but the last, as far as events are concerned, we generally think 3 to 4 years out. We don't have anything right now. I would say originally it was 2023 was where we were looking for something that was more in that part of the country or that part of the world, to get something that was a little bit more neutral to have it done. But nothing has been solidified as of yet. And then when COVID came along, it really just stopped everything in regards to where we're doing. But we are definitely looking at doing things in other parts of the world. And we constantly, when we are looking out in the future, we measure what places we've already been and where the success are. So we definitely are sensitive to, like, not just being in the US all the time or in the Europe all of the time. We're actually want to extend out to other parts of the world that we haven't been able to physically have a gathering.
Okay, yeah, nice to hear that.
Right.
Yeah. And Mike, do Scrum Alliance, I don't know whether Scrum Alliance, they have their offices within the US. Do they expand their offices to other countries, like physical offices where organizations or the people who are actually members of the Scrum Alliance can walk into the Scrum Alliance as an office or the location, and they can talk to the Scrum Alliance representatives within that location? Do we plan to have that kind of thing?
Not off the top, not that I know of. There's no immediate plans for that. After, I think last year, Yes, now it's last year. When we got the new office, they then COVID happened, and then we didn't do anything in regards to in-person aspects. But it is an interesting prospect in regards to putting offices in various parts of the world. There are benefits of which you so thankfully have already detailed is that there's a different there's an advantage to actually having a physical office in parts of the world, so that people can actually come in and have some face-to-face and talk to people in those areas. And it does represent us as being a more global organization when we actually have offices. So it is something that I know I've talked to at the product owner level, but I don't know, especially now financially, it just becomes an odd thing because COVID is going
Yeah.
along, and in person is it's really a not thing right now.
Yeah, so just waiting, what would be the scenarios after COVID era? So just waiting and watching that how the world reacts to that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Well, you finish. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I just actually I was just talking, so I would just wanted other participants if they want to ask the questions because I was just curious. So I asked those.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I'm here to answer as many questions as I can.
Okay, do we have any questions from
Anyone
anybody
else?
else? So all the newcomers, do you have any questions for Mike?
Thank you. This has been really helpful, really insightful.
Okay. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to get in front of people and talk about the things that the Scrum Alliance provides and get feedback. That's another thing, especially from a product owner standpoint. Feedback is always something that we long for, and it helps us be educated in regards to the things that we put in our backlog. In addition to what what should we do first. So thank you for that.
Feedback from the real customers, right?
Yes, it's about the real customers. I know it's a crazy concept to actually listen to your customers, but I'm one of those guys that does that.
All right. Okay, any queries?
Mike, just one thing. At present, Scrum Alliance is basically focusing on the product owners and Scrum Masters, and now the scaling. Do we plan to have something related to DevOps as well? Because when organizations are into the Agile, now they go for the early delivery and quick delivery. They try to implement DevOps, but at present they are not. Scrum Alliance do not have anything for DevOps part of it. So, do we have anything to implement that kind of certifications or any knowledge path for that?
No, there's nothing on the backlog that talks about from a DevOps standpoint. I know there's a lot of conversations that are where they're going into the CSD aspect of it and working on that currently. But that's not something from a DevOps perspective. But that's very interesting. It's very interesting. I hadn't. That's very interesting.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
because
Go ahead.
yes, go ahead.
No, it's a perspective that as a product owner, I've worked in so many dev teams that the DevOps aspect of it is something that it used to not be a thing, honestly, as from my perspective, but now it's become so integral in what the work that we do, especially when you get into GitHub and aspects of like deployment and those parts of it and how integrated they are. It makes sense.
Yeah, because when the organization where I'm working, I'm working as a Scrum Master or some for the teams, but for the others, we regularly deploy or do this. So there is a DevOps team as well. So we need to interact with them. So when we go over there, DevOps, and when we integrate them tightly, it is like to deliver them very quickly into the market, and that helps us. So, but once people go for, okay, what certifications or what knowledge path after the Scrum Master, because as a Scrum Master or as an Agile coach, we need to know those aspects as well. And even the product owners, because how they can facilitate or ease the customer to get the requirements into the production environment. So when that comes in, they need to go out of the Scrum Alliance and look for other resources.
Yeah.
So if we are just going for this product owner and a Scrum Master within the Scrum Alliance, we get those resources. Can we get that DevOps kind of resources within the Scrum knowledge? So that would be helpful for everyone to correlate and go ahead with that.
Yeah, totally. It makes perfectly good sense. I'm speechless. That we haven't had conversations about it, but this is one of the reasons I love talking to customers. Is that's an excellent idea. I'm definitely going to be talking to Howard and the organization next week to talk about it, because it's such an integral thing as a product person. It's so integrated, and so thank you for that.
And thanks for when we talk to the knowledge body, we are not that much able to connect. That's the where I came, that what are the prospects for Scrum Alliance within India, if there would be any global Scrum gathering over here, and because then we need to get to directly talk to the Scrum Alliance members. And thanks to Deepti, where we got this opportunity at this platform. Where we are.
I'm so happy we could have, thanks to Mike, he agreed and he facilitated, despite being so busy, he ensured all the facilitation with Scrum Alliance. Otherwise, the conversation was going on for very long.
The credit, that's not where the credit goes. Deepti that's where the credit. She is tenacious, and when it comes to getting us all together and putting it on, so that work is all her. I do what I can, but it took her to help get us all and stay focused on it. So we thank you so much for helping us be here and understand the importance of it. And I'm honored to be able to have a conversation with you and answer some of the questions that you have, because it's an important market. It is not something that's not important to us, and so we want to make sure that the representation matches with the importance of this market. That's for sure.
Okay, in the interest of time, we can just take one last question and we'll have to close it.
Yeah. But I'll not answer that.
Okay, I think we are good, Mike. Thank you so much for your time. This was really helpful. And we'll close the session now. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for your time. We are closing the session now. Have a wonderful evening ahead. Bye.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thank you all.